All right, so I'm going to show you how to evaluate or solve a function. Now, this is not a function, but the difference between it and a function is very, very little. So now you're probably very familiar with this. So basically what they're saying here is they give you y equals x plus 5. Okay, and all we have to do is substitute in the x value to find out what the y value is. So for instance, if x is 0, put 0 there, 0 plus 5 is 5. If x is 3, 3 plus 5 is 8. And if we were to put, if x is 4, then y would be 9. Okay. Now also with these relate to x and y, these relate to coordinates or ordered pairs. So we're going to quickly graph 0, 5, 3, 8, and 4, 9. Okay, and I only had to do 2 of them because once the second one is made, this is considered a linear function, or sorry, a linear equation, so it just creates a straight line. All right, so now the only difference is these just look a little different. Now I chose a very difficult one. I'm actually going to go back just so I can show you the real basics here. This is real basic. So they call it a function. So the function of x. So basically, like, just like we were doing, they said we have an equation of sorts. So instead of just writing y equals 2x and them telling you what x is, they write f of x. Okay, and then tell you it equals 2x. But then they're just telling you f of 12, which means 12 is just going to take the place of x. That's all it means. Okay, so this is still y, basically. F of 12 is equal to y. Okay, and all we have to do is solve the equation when x is 12. So 2 times 12, 24. Real basic, right? All right, make sure you're following your order of operations. Okay, so we got negative 10 squared. So negative 10 times negative 10 would be 100. 100 times 2 would be 200. Okay, again, make sure you're following your order of operations. I'm going to skip to hopefully a little harder one here. Okay, so we had one like this. Okay, again, you would do exponents, then multiplication, then addition. All right, I'm skipping around just a hair for, and you're only going up to 90, so you don't have to deal with these decimals. All right, so I guess I'll do this one real quick. So you got negative 10 times negative 10, which is 100. Then you got 9 times negative 10, which is negative 90. Add those together and you get 10. All right. Trying to do this quick. Hopefully I don't get it wrong, because I am going real fast. Perfect. Here's one of the things I'm looking for. So right here we have, if you don't remember, 2 lines outside of each other. That means an absolute value. Okay, basically meaning the distance that number is from 0. And the distance will always be positive. But make sure you solve it before you turn everything into a positive. So in this case, our x is 9. So we're going to do negative 1 plus 9, which would be 8. So it ends up being, so it stays as a positive. Okay, but don't turn that negative 1 into a positive 1 until you've solved what's inside here. We treat this absolute value like parentheses. Okay, so we got 8, and then you're saying 8 times negative 4, which would be negative 32. Okay, so again, treat the absolute value in this case like parentheses because there's no symbol in between it. Okay, it goes negative 4, absolute value of negative 1 plus x. Okay, now if there'd been a plus sign or something like that right here, we would consider it addition, but there's no symbol in between, so we treat it like a number in parentheses next to another, which is multiplication. Also, well, this is an exponent. Hopefully you're familiar with those. Remember that just says, in this case, 2 to the 4th power, which would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which I believe 2 to 16. 16 times 2 is 32. Plus 11 is 43. All right, and also if you see the square root, okay, the square root symbol. Sorry, I'm going to jump back and forth hopefully here and run into another one of those. But the square root symbol. Actually, let me see if I can find it. I'll just pull it up somewhere else. If you weren't familiar with them. Whoop. So remember, a square root is just what number times itself gives you that. So that would be 2. All right, so also just like I was saying earlier, if you have a number next to that on the outside, for instance, if this said 2 square root of 4, okay, actually let me choose a different, if I said 10 square root of 4, and I said evaluate that, okay, the square root of 4 we know is 2, so since they're next to each other, no symbol, that would mean multiplication, so 10 times 2 would give us the 20, okay? And that's how you evaluate functions. Don't overthink it. Just whatever x value they give you, put that into the equation. Make sure you follow the order of operations. And okay, so parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, addition, subtraction. All right.